my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now in today's video, I'm going to be doing a highly requested video that a ton of you guys always ask me, and I try and make kind of an every couple week series of this, and it's basically how to improve your aim as a Fortnite player. And arguably, aim is the most important mechanic to have in the game, because you can be the best builder, you can be the best editor, but if you can't aim and absolutely clap people with your shots, well then you're going to be in trouble, because basically you're not going to be able to deal damage to them and they're just going to clap you, right? If you notice, all the best players in the world, people like Mongrel, Zextro, Tfue, all those players, they have absolutely unreal aim, and most of the time they don't miss their shots. If you guys want to play this map, I'll put the code in the description. Me and my buddies actually made it through the stream. We were doing it on my stream afterwards, and I actually really appreciate them helping me with it. And it's just kind of like the recreation of the Zextro map that I'm sure a lot of you guys watch and do, which is that TSM Zextro has possibly one of the best aim in the world, and he just grinded this map out, as well as obviously Kovacs. But yeah, that's basically it for today's intro, kind of. We'll get right into the video. If you want to see this video and you enjoy it, make sure you slap the like button, make sure you comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, and come and check out my stream in the link in the description. Now let's get into today's video. So the first tip I'm going to give, and this is a pretty obvious one, is play aim trainers. Now these you can use obviously if you're on keyboard and mouse, or even if you're on a controller. Now obviously, for example, something like Kovacs, which I highly recommend if you're on keyboard and mouse, definitely a good investment to have. They always have deals where it's on for $4.99. Definitely a good investment to put into the game and make you improve is buying Kovacs. And a couple good courses for that would be Bounce 180, One Wall 6 Targets, Popcorn, and Ascended Tracking. Those are the four that I probably use the most out of any courses, and honestly I just personally think they're one of the best ones to learn all around aiming. And obviously I'm not saying my aiming is god or anything, like it's very average. Obviously I switched to keyboard and mouse around 5 months ago, and I think my aim's pretty good for where I'm at, but it definitely still needs a huge improvement compared to some pros and some even normal players, average players. So I'm always grinding and making sure that my aim can try and be at that level, because it definitely is not there yet. And then obviously if you're on controller, you don't really have the access to Kovacs, or even if you don't want to spend money for Kovacs, there's now tons and tons of aim trainers in creative that you can use. You can always just look up on YouTube aim trainers. I even have a couple videos talking about them, but my favorite guy who makes them is Tito. And basically you can look him up on YouTube. It's T-E-A-D-O-H, and he makes tons of absolutely crazy aim trainers on creative, so it's completely free. You just have to put in the code, and I've already done videos highlighting them, and you can just look them up whenever you want, or you can look up his channel, whatever you want to do. But there's definitely a ton of aim trainers you can do in creative that will help you improve your shotgun aim, sniping aim, AR aim, SMG aim, tracking, blah blah blah. Basically everything you can think of, it'll help you improve with. It just requires a lot of dedication, which I'll talk to you later. Now this is a pretty big tip. It's not like a practice tip, but it's try your best to keep your crosshairs always on your target, or like when you're going around a corner, make sure it's head level and right around the corner, because a lot of the time I feel that some people, including me, sometimes will just have our crosshair randomly, or looking at the ground or looking at the sky, or when I'm going around a corner I'll be looking the opposite direction, which means I have to flick shot the person, which basically isn't that good, because if you have to flick shot, there's a higher likelihood of you missing the shot, which basically means there's a higher likelihood of you getting killed. Because obviously if you miss that first shot, you never know what can happen, right? You're most likely going to die if the other player is a decent player. So always try and keep your crosshairs right on a head level, just so you're always aware of where someone could be, and possibly even if you can't hear them and they're just corner camping, you'll be able to absolutely destroy them because you'll be ready, right? Now my next tip is stay consistent with practice. This is the biggest thing that I see people like kind of fail with, is if you want to improve your aim, you have to be practicing like 3, 4, 5, even 6, maybe even 7 times a week. Like you have to be grinding the practice. You have to be playing it all the time, because if you're not going to improve your aim. Like a lot of people will maybe do it once or twice a week, or they'll just do it here or there, and they wonder, well, why isn't my aim improving? I've been practicing quite a bit. And honestly, it's not going to improve. Like you gotta be grinding You got to stay consistent with your practice, or it's not going to improve. Like, it's unfortunate to say, but aim takes time, which I'll be talking about later. Now, the next thing is don't over practice. So basically, over practicing would be if you grind Kovacs for 5 or 6 hours because, for example, you missed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of aim trainer, so you're like, okay, well, I'm going to make it back and I'm actually going to start practicing my aim more. Well, I'm just going to grind out 6 hours and I'll be as good as Tifu. No, that's not really how it works. If you play for more than 2 hours in aim trainer, it's actually been like recorded, well, not recorded, but like a lot of pros have talked about it, and a lot of people who play Kovacs all the time, etc., have talked about it, where if you're playing for over 2 hours, and I guess this is the same thing for creative, you're honestly not learning as much. It's more like you're just going repetition. You're not really learning new like aim tricks. You're not learning how to use your crosshair, you move your mouse or whatever joystick easier. So max, I would say, is play 2 hours. Sure, if you want to play more, do 2 hours, take an hour break, and then do another 2 hours. Like, that's different, but just don't do 6 hours straight, because it's still obviously helping you, but it's not helping you as much as where you be 2 hours, take an hour break, and then another 2 hours, right? You'd really improve in that 4 hours with an hour break than you would just doing straight 6 hours. It's just pretty crazy. But yeah, that's one thing I'm going to say, is don't over practice. Trust me, I know it sounds weird. You could be like, well, if I play 24 hours for 2 days, wouldn't I be better at aim training? Yeah, you would, but like, it wouldn't be as good as just doing 10 hours in a day. Like, you know what I mean? So basically, the big moral, I guess, of this one is don't overtrain. Now, the next one is, once you feel confident, basically start like pushing yourself and start trying to do things that you wouldn't normally feel comfortable doing, and then try and get used to it. Try and feel like, okay, I know I have good aim, I know I can do this. So a couple of things, for example, you could do is try that mid-air sniper, try and knock people out of the air. That's what I've been doing a lot recently, and it actually is the best feeling in the world when someone's in the air and you laser them 4 times with your AR, or even sometimes hit a snipe on them. It's just literally the best feeling in the world, and you're just like, oh my god, all my aim practice has paid off, and I'm basically a way better player. I've hit my shots more. Like, literally, there's nothing more I think I like in this game than hitting people out of the air, especially for like 130 damage, or killing them right out of the air. It just makes me feel so good. It's like, oh my god, I actually have decent aim, right? So once you start actually getting your aim better, start trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Start trying to hit shots that you normally wouldn't do. You can do a crazy flick shot, like you can do a Mr. Savage, jump off the top of the floor or ramp or whatever the case is, try a 360 deagle shot and see if you can hit it, because you want to start pushing yourself to hit those hard shots, because if you can start hitting hard shots and difficult shots, mid-air snipes, whatever the case is, well, then you're going to start hitting those easier shots more likely and more consistently. Now, this last tip, and it's a very, very important one, and I want you guys to extremely pay attention, is don't expect it to be fast. Like, for example, like I said, I've been on keyboard and mouse for around 5 months now, and I obviously didn't grind aim trainers for the past 5 months, but I started grinding probably 2 months ago, and then I started actually putting in a lot of work around a week and a half ago. Like, I kind of would do Kovacs here or there and aim trainers here and there, but I actually started doing like a daily routine of Kovacs about a week and a half ago, and I've seen a little bit of improvement. Sure, obviously I can't see, like, my aim hasn't turned into, again, Zexro or Mongrel or Booga or something like that. Obviously my aim's still pretty good, but it's not absolutely unreal. It takes time to get to that level. Like, think about all these players who are absolutely unbelievable. They've been playing FPS games for literally like 3, 4, 5, even 6 years sometimes, right? Look at Shroud from CSGO. Everyone talked about him coming over Fortnite, just having unbelievable aim, and everyone's like, well, how did he get this? The reason how he got it was he played Counter-Strike. He played all these extra games for literally like 4 or 5 years, which allowed him to have better aim than someone just switching. Or even if you're just playing like if you normally play Call of Duty, it's completely different from Call of Duty into Fortnite. Obviously it still kind of has that general aim basis, but it's still quite a bit different. So trust me, it's gonna take time. Don't expect to just grind out 2-3 weeks of Kovacs or 2-3 weeks of aim trainers and be like, okay, well, my aim's not as good as Mongo, why is that? Well, trust me, it's going to take time. Now, obviously, I know you don't want to wait a year or 2 or 3 years till you have absolutely unreal aim, but unfortunately, sometimes you're going to have to wait a long time before you start to see a huge improvement. Like, for example, like I said, I've been grinding for the past 2 weeks. I've seen a little improvement. My aims feel a little bit crisp, but I still miss very, very easy shots that I shouldn't be missing. And of course, sometimes I hit those mid-air shots, but I'll just miss a close range pump sometimes, or I'll miss a close range snipe, or whatever the case is, right? If you go watch one of those pros, they don't miss those shots. But like I said, it just takes time. You got to continue to grind. You got to keep pushing. You can't just give up because it's not working and you're not improving. You just got to keep grinding through it and be like, hey, eventually I know my aim is going to get there, so I'm just going to keep doing it, keep practicing it, and trust me, it will get better. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you slap the like button, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, you already know, and make sure you check out my stream, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.